These 8 advanced English words will sharpen your fluency and your IELTS, TOEFL, or Cambridge score. And you won't just memorize them. You'll meet each one inside the story, feel what it means, then prove you caught it. That's how your brain keeps them for good. Mr. Croft had cheated lonely old widows out of their savings for 20 years, and he had never once been caught. So when he knocked on the door of Ada Ashby's grand, crumbling house, he was certain he had found his easiest victim yet. He was about to discover that he had walked into the one trap he could not talk his way out of. Croft was a swindler of the smoothest kind. He never broke in and never threatened anyone. He simply charmed his way into the homes of wealthy, lonely people and persuaded them, with a warm smile and a fountain pen, to sign their fortunes over to him. He had charmed hundreds. Charm, he always said, was the only tool a clever man ever truly needed. Ada Ashby seemed perfect. She was a widow in her 80s, alone in a vast old house full of dusty antiques, and she answered the door in her slippers, blinking up at him through thick glasses. She seemed sweet, rich, and utterly naive. Exactly the sort of trusting, naive old soul that Croft had built his whole career upon. He turned on his warmest smile and began to flatter her. He flattered her house, her late husband's taste, her lovely garden, until the old woman positively glowed. Over tea, she showed him her treasures, a painting she thought might be worth a little something. Her late husband's savings, sitting in a silly old account doing nothing. To Croft, every word was bait, and he swallowed it whole. Here was a fortune, ripe for the taking, guarded only by a confused old lady. He did not once stop to wonder why the bait was laid out quite so neatly. He grew bold. Within the hour, he was brazenly explaining his investment plan, the same lie that had emptied 100 bank accounts. He was so brazen and Ada so trusting that he barely troubled to hide the trick. He had done this so many times that he had become utterly complacent, certain, as always, that he was the cleverest person in the room. That complacent certainty was the most dangerous thing he owned. He laid the papers on the table. "Just a small formality, dear lady," he purred, uncapping his fountain pen. "Sign here, and let me take care of everything for you." Ada peered at the documents, her hand trembling, and signed her shaky name exactly where he pointed. Croft's heart sang. He had done it again. And then Ada Ashby took off her thick glasses, and her whole face changed. The trembling vanished. The vague, watery look in her eyes turned suddenly as sharp as a blade. "Mr. Croft," she said, in a voice that was not frail in the least, "do you have any idea how many men like you I have caught?" She had never been the one being ensnared. From the very moment he knocked, she had been quietly ensnaring him. Everything, she explained, had been bait. She was no helpless widow. She was a retired fraud officer, and for 10 years she had hunted men exactly like him. The priceless painting was a worthless copy. The fortune in the account was a few pounds, and the trembling old hand that had signed his documents had signed nothing of the sort. While he gloated, she had swapped his papers for a full, signed confession, and every smooth word he had spoken for the last hour sat recorded on a small device blinking quietly on the shelf behind him. Croft's easy smile finally cracked. He lunged for the recorder. Ada merely pressed a button on the arm of her chair. Out in the hall, the front door opened, and 2 police officers stepped quietly inside. The great swindler, who had never been caught in 20 long years, had been undone in a single afternoon. And his downfall had come not from a cleverer trick, but from his own bottomless greed. It was a downfall entirely of his own making. They led Mr. Croft away, protesting, his famous charm finally useless. Ada Ashby put her thick glasses back on, poured herself a fresh cup of tea, and smiled. She had learned, across a long career, the one thing that men like Croft never did, that the easiest person in the world to fool is the one who is utterly certain he cannot be fooled. His complacent confidence had been the real trap all along. The clever swindler had spent his whole life calling other people naive, and had never once suspected that the sweet, slippered old woman pouring his tea was the cleverest hunter he would ever meet. Now, and did you catch all 8? Let's find out. A verb meaning to win someone over with warmth, smiles, and pleasant manners. It's how a smooth talker wins your trust with a dazzling smile. Croft did this to wealthy, lonely people to get inside their homes. Croft would do what? Win them over with warmth, his way into a home, and walk out with a fortune. The word is charm. The salesman charmed the whole room before anyone noticed his trick. A noun for something tempting used to lure a victim into a trap. It's the worm on the hook that tempts the fish to its doom. To Croft, the old lady's treasures and savings looked exactly like this. Every word she spoke was, "What?" A tempting lure, and the greedy swindler swallowed it whole. The word is bait. The thieves used a shiny new car as bait to draw him in. A verb meaning to praise someone too much, often to win their favor. It's pouring on false, oily praise to make someone like and trust you. Croft did this to Ada, her house, her garden, her late husband's taste. He began to do what? Heap false praise on her until the old woman glowed. The word is flatter. He flattered the manager shamelessly, hoping for a quick promotion. An adjective for being boldly shameless with no fear of being caught. It describes the bold cheek of someone who does wrong out in the open. Croft was this. He barely bothered to hide his lie from the old lady. He grew so what? Boldly shameless? That he hardly troubled to hide the trick at all. The word is brazen. It was a brazen lie, told to her face without a flicker of shame. An adjective for being too trusting and innocent and easily fooled. It describes someone so innocent they believe whatever they are told. Croft was sure Ada was this, a sweet, simple, easily tricked old soul. He took her for a trusting, what kind of old woman? Too innocent and easily fooled, who would believe anything? The word is naive. It was naive of him to trust a stranger with all his savings. A noun for a sudden ruin or fall from power, often through one's own fault. It's the great crash that ends a powerful person's long run of success. Croft's came not from a cleverer trick, but from his own greed. His what? Sudden ruin. Came not from bad luck, but from his own bottomless greed. The word is downfall. His own pride turned out to be the cause of his downfall. A verb meaning to catch someone in a trap, as if in a net or snare. It's how a hunter catches an animal in a hidden, cleverly set trap. From the moment he knocked, Ada had quietly been doing this to Croft. He thought he was the hunter, but she had been doing what to him? Catching him in a trap, what, all along? The word is ensnare. The detective slowly ensnared the killer with his own careless lies. An adjective for being so smugly sure of yourself that you stop being careful. It describes the lazy overconfidence that comes just before a fall. Croft had grown exactly this after 20 years of never being caught. 20 easy years had made him what? Smugly overconfident and careless, certain he could never be caught. The word is complacent. After years of success, the champion grew complacent and stopped training. Quick recap. How many do you still remember? Charm. Bait. Flatter. Brazen. Naive. Downfall. Ensnare. Complacent. A new English story every day. Subscribe and master advanced words the way your brain actually keeps them. Inside a story you won't forget.